Have you ever paused to consider your middle name? Not just its sound or spelling, but its soul? Most people brush off their middle name as a formality, a filler between the names that really matter. Some can't even remember why it was chosen, and many never use it at all. But what if I told you? Your middle name might carry a message your soul has been trying to whisper to you all along. It's not just a label, it's a signature, one you didn't consciously choose, but one that may have been meant for you. Think about it. Your first name is usually a choice of identity, something parents select with intention, meaning, or tradition. Your last name is inherited. It ties you to your ancestry, your family line. But the middle name? It exists in a mysterious space between identity and inheritance. It's a shadow name, a bridge, a soul print. And often, it's where a hidden truth is tucked away. A truth about your purpose, your wounds, your gifts, or the role you were born to play in this lifetime. In this video, we're going to explore what your middle name might actually mean, spiritually, psychologically, and energetically. Not just in terms of etymology, but in how it shows up in your life's patterns, emotional archetypes, and inner evolution. We'll look at surprising spiritual interpretations from Eastern and Western traditions, forgotten symbolism past, down in naming rituals, and the quiet power your middle name may hold in shaping your decisions, your identity, and your healing. And here's the twist. This won't just be about names. This will be about you, what you carry, what you're here to release, and the encoded wisdom that might be hiding in the name you've ignored for years, because once you decode it, your middle name could become one of the most meaningful keys to understanding your spiritual path. So stay with me. What you discover in the next 30 minutes could forever change how you see yourself. Let's start with the obvious question. Why do we ignore our middle names? For many, the middle name is almost invisible. It's used on legal documents, maybe announced during a formal ceremony or disciplinary moment. Jonathan Michael Smith, get down here. But otherwise, it drifts in the background of our identity. It's not what people call us, it's not what we introduce ourselves as, and it often feels like it's not really ours. But that's precisely what makes it powerful. In spiritual traditions across the world, the name that isn't spoken, often the secret name, the sacred name, is considered the truest reflection of the soul. In some ancient rituals, a person's birth name was known only to the gods and the high priest, because it was believed that names held power, and using them carelessly could weaken that power. Could it be that our middle name is our own modern version of a sacred name? It's the part of our identity that remains untouched by ego. Since we don't use it every day, it's not tied up in social status, expectations, or performance. It just is. Quiet, enduring, and often loaded with unseen meaning. Consider this. When something is hidden in plain sight, it often carries a lesson we're not ready to face yet. Your middle name might be that lesson, and the fact that you've ignored it for so long. That might be part of the journey. Maybe it's only now, in this season of your life, that you're finally ready to see it. In Buddhist philosophy, the concept of avidya means spiritual ignorance, not a failure of intelligence, but of awareness. We overlook the truth, not because it's far away, but because we're looking past it. So if your middle name has been forgotten, it's not because it lacks meaning. It might be because that meaning is sacred, and sacred things often wait patiently to be discovered. What if you paused right now and just said your full name out loud? Felt how your middle name sits between your beginning and your legacy? You might be surprised how emotional it feels. If this idea is sparking something in you, drop your middle name in the comments, not to share it, but to claim it. Let it speak. You might find it has something to say. Names aren't just labels, they're energy. Every name, spoken or silent, carries a unique vibration. In many spiritual systems, especially in Hinduism and Kabbalah, it's believed that names influence the destiny of the soul, not metaphorically, literally. So what energy does your middle name carry? Maybe it was given to honor a grandparent. Maybe it was chosen for how it sounded. Maybe it was random, but beneath all that, your middle name holds an emotional code. It often reflects an unspoken truth your family carried, or a lesson they hoped you'd carry forward. Ask yourself, what emotion rises when you think of your middle name? Pride, distance, confusion, warmth. That feeling is your first clue. Because emotions are messengers, especially the subtle ones, and your emotional response to your middle name can reveal how it echoes within your psyche. There's a story I once heard about a woman named Elena Ruth. She never liked her middle name. Ruth felt stiff to her, old, hard, disconnected from her life. But when she researched its meaning, she found that Ruth means compassion or friend. And then she remembered her mother had lost her best friend to illness just before she was born. Her middle name was that friend's name. Suddenly, everything shifted. Her middle name wasn't just a placeholder, it was an emotional bridge, a symbol of grief, memory, and love passed down without explanation. How many of us are carrying emotional threads in our names, threads no one ever told us about? From a psychological view, Carl Jung talked about the idea of the personal unconscious, all the material we carry that influences our behavior but stays below the surface. Your middle name might be part of that material. A carrier of unconscious, stories you inherited and are now living out, often without realizing it. If your middle name reminds you of someone you barely knew, or stirs emotions you don't quite understand, lean in. There may be an unresolved narrative there, a spiritual echo asking for acknowledgement. And here's the beautiful part. When you consciously recognize the emotional signature of your name, it stops unconsciously shaping you. You become the one holding the thread, not the other way around. If this idea speaks to your journey, give this video a like so it reaches others who need it. You never know who's ready to uncover the message hidden in their name. Think of your name as a bridge. Your first name is who you are in the world, your personality, your ego, your social face. Your last name is your lineage, your roots, your family karma, your inherited patterns. But your middle name, it's the soul's path, the quiet journey between who you seem to be and who you truly are. Buddhism speaks often of the middle way, the path between extremes. Not indulgence, not denial, but a centered, awake presence that honors both the light and the shadow. That is what your middle name represents, the spiritual space between your outer identity and your ancestral inheritance. It's not about the name itself. It's about what it represents in your life, the part of you that doesn't fit easily into categories, the emotional middle, the spiritual midpoint, the version of you that holds both the child and the elder, the self and the lineage. Let's pause on that. Have you ever felt like you're walking between two worlds? Like you carry responsibilities from your family, but also have a deep pull toward a life they don't quite understand? That tension, that in-between, is the middle name energy. In spiritual psychology, the liminal space is the threshold between what was and what's yet to be. It's often uncomfortable, but it's where transformation happens. That's why so many people begin to reconnect with their middle name during major life transitions, after a loss, a breakup, a spiritual awakening. It's like the soul knows, now is the time to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. One man shared that his middle name was Joseph after a grandfather he never met. He used to dislike it. But when he hit a personal crisis in midlife, he learned that Joseph in Hebrew means God will increase. That realization hit him like lightning. It was the exact encouragement he needed, that something greater was still unfolding, even in the dark. Your middle name might be a message from your soul, but one you can only read when you're standing on that middle path when you're ready. So ask yourself, what part of your life feels in the middle right now? Is your name speaking to that? We inherit more than eye color and bone structure. In many spiritual traditions, especially in Vedic and Buddhist philosophy, names are believed to carry karmic weight. They aren't just identity markers, they're energetic footprints, echoing lessons and patterns from the past. This includes our middle names. Karma in its simplest form is cause and effect, the invisible threads of past choices, soul contracts and ancestral decisions that shape our current path. And names, they are vessels. They can carry karmic intentions, both conscious and unconscious. Your middle name might have been given to honor someone, a relative, a mentor, a family friend, but it might also carry the unfinished karma of that person. If your middle name belonged to someone who struggled, who suffered, who never got to fully live their truth, you may be carrying not just their name, but their silent longing for resolution. This isn't superstition, it's energetic psychology. Epigenetic studies now show that trauma can be passed down through generations, altering how genes express themselves. In other words, we inherit more than stories. We inherit emotional codes. Your middle name could be a key to unlocking those codes. Think about it. Did the person you're named after ever heal? Were they misunderstood? Were they revered or quietly pitied? These questions matter because sometimes we take on a name not just to remember, but to redeem. You may be here to bring light to what they couldn't, to live the truth they were denied, to bring balance to an imbalance you didn't create, but can help resolve. And if your middle name wasn't linked to a person at all, it might still carry karmic clues, the sound of the name, the meaning, even the time period it reflects. All of these can reveal the type of energy your soul is here to engage with. There's a Buddhist saying, "The ancestor's breath still lingers in the child's lungs." What if your middle name is part of that breath? A sacred exhale waiting to be fully released through your choices. If that resonates, pause for a moment and just breathe into your middle name. Let it rise in your awareness, not as a word, but as a presence. And if that presence feels heavy, you're not alone. Share in the comments if you've ever felt like your name was both a blessing and a burden. That might be the first step toward healing it. Everything is vibration. From the hum of the universe to the beat of your heart, the world is a symphony of frequencies and names. They're part of that music. Every letter, every syllable in your name carries a frequency. When spoken aloud, it releases a specific vibration into the world and into your subconscious. That's why mantras are so powerful. In Hindu and Buddhist practice, the repetition of sacred sounds like Om or Nama isn't just symbolic. It shifts your consciousness. Words change energy. So what happens when you say your middle name? It may feel awkward at first, Mika, or even meaningless, but if you speak it slowly, intentionally, you might begin to feel its rhythm, its resonance, its code. Sound healers have long used the concept of name tuning, the belief that certain names resonate with particular chakras or energy centers in the body. A name heavy in M or N sounds might connect with the heart chakra. A sharp consonant like K or T might stimulate the throat, inviting expression or truth-telling. Your middle name might be carrying a vibrational lesson, not in its meaning, but in its sound. For example, a woman named Liana Joy shared how she used to hide her middle name because it felt overly sentimental. But when she started using sound meditation to repeat it gently in her breath, joy, joy, it began to anchor her during panic attacks. It became her personal mantra, a healing frequency she didn't know was hers all along. What if your middle name could do the same? Try this. Say your full name out loud. Feel where the sound lands in your body. Does it hit your chest, your throat, your belly? These are all clues. Your body recognizes truth through sensation. Now say just your middle name slowly, like a chant. Repeat it. Let it echo. Let it stir something ancient in you, even if it feels silly. Keep going. In Tibetan Buddhism, repetition is how we awaken the soul's memory. That's what you're doing here, awakening the part of you that remembers why this name was chosen. Your middle name isn't just a sound, it's a vibrational breadcrumb on the path back to your deeper self. If this practice revealed something new, tell us below. What did you feel when you said your name out loud? And did it surprise you? There's a strange pattern many people notice. Their middle name doesn't seem important until later in life. As children, we often don't understand it. As teens, we might even reject it. But somewhere in adulthood, especially in midlife, that middle name begins to stir. We start to wonder what it really means and why it was given to us in the first place. That timing is no accident. In the rhythm of spiritual development, midlife is not just a crisis, it's a portal, a moment when the outer identity begins to wear thin and the inner truth starts to rise. In Jungian psychology, this is the individuation phase, where the ego must make space for the soul. And right there, in that space, the middle name speaks up. Because it was never meant to be loud, it was meant to be revealed. Your middle name might be a message written for a future version of you. The version that's been through heartbreak, that's lost things, that's dared to ask, who am I really? That's why it feels more magnetic in midlife. You're finally standing at the middle of your own story. And in that mirror, your name, all of it, starts to matter differently. I once heard a man in his 60s say, "I never liked my middle name. But now it feels like the most honest part of me." He didn't change his name, he changed how he saw himself. And the middle name became a symbol of everything he had hidden and everything he had grown into. Spiritually speaking, your middle name might reflect the qualities you were always meant to embody, but had to grow into. Maybe it's a name of strength you didn't have yet, or of softness you had to protect, or a vision that only comes with age. And here's the deeper insight. The middle name is often the bridge to integration. The way your soul balances your outer self, first name, and your ancestral blueprint, last name. It helps you reclaim wholeness, not just as a person, but as a spirit walking through time. So if you're feeling a shift lately, if you're waking up to parts of yourself you'd long buried or ignored, this might be the moment your middle name was waiting for. Speak it with honor, even if you still don't understand it. Sometimes names reveal their power not before the journey, but because of it. You don't need a guru or a nameologist to decode the hidden message in your middle name. What you do need is curiosity and the willingness to see beyond the obvious. Let's start with a simple practice. Break your middle name down into 3 parts: the origin, the meaning, and the feeling. 1. The origin. Where does your middle name come from? Is it cultural, biblical, mythological? Even a quick Google search can open a door to symbols and archetypes. For instance, the name Marie might seem common, but it's tied to Mary, the mother of compassion, sacrifice, and quiet strength. The meaning. Look up what your name means, but don't stop at one definition. Names often have multiple translations across languages. Explore them all. Even contradictory meanings can point to a spiritual lesson you're meant to hold in balance. The feeling. What do you feel when you say it? What memories, images, or emotions surface? Trust your intuition. The feeling might matter more than the literal meaning. This is how the soul speaks, in sensation, not syllables. Spiritual traditions often speak of names as mandalas, not just words but mirrors, a sacred pattern that reflects who we are becoming. For example, if your middle name is Grace, you might associate it with elegance or beauty. But what if your life's lesson is to embody grace under pressure, or to learn forgiveness, the deeper meaning of spiritual grace? Your name might not describe who you are right now. It might describe who you are here to become. This is why numerology, used in many mystical systems, links names to soul purpose. Each letter is assigned a number, and those numbers form patterns, soul numbers or destiny numbers. Whether or not you believe in numerology, the metaphor holds: your name is a code. And codes unlock when you bring attention to them. Here's a quiet moment of reflection. Write your middle name at the top of a blank page. Beneath it, write whatever words come to mind. No editing, just free flow. Let your subconscious speak. You might be surprised by what rises. One viewer once shared, "I always hated my middle name, Elaine. But when I did this, I wrote down elegance, echo elder evening. It hit me. I've always felt like an old soul, like I came here to bring calm at the end of the storm. That was never in a baby name book, but now I see it." If you try this exercise, share a word that came up in the comments. It might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Remember, the true meaning of your name isn't in a dictionary. It's in your life, let's be honest. Not everyone feels a magical connection to their middle name. Some people say it sounds old-fashioned. Others say it feels disconnected from who they are, like a coat they never chose and never wanted to wear. So what happens when your middle name feels more like a mistake than a message? This dissonance is more important than it seems. In psychology, there's a concept called cognitive dissonance, the discomfort that arises when something in your external world doesn't align with your internal truth. But in spiritual work, that discomfort isn't a problem. It's a portal. If your middle name doesn't feel like you, don't dismiss it. Ask why. Does it remind you of someone whose energy you've tried to distance yourself from? Does it represent a version of yourself you've outgrown or never allowed yourself to become? Sometimes the name we resist is the exact energy we're avoiding, and also the one we're meant to integrate. A man once told me his middle name was Francis, after a devout uncle. He grew up resenting religion, feeling like the name forced him into an identity that didn't fit. But decades later, in a period of grief and deep searching, he came across the teachings of Saint Francis of Assisi, who spoke not of dogma, but of humility, simplicity, and radical compassion. That name, once a wound, became a compass. This is the spiritual paradox. The parts of ourselves we reject often hold the seeds of our wholeness, and if your middle name truly doesn't resonate, if it feels like a dead branch on your tree, that too is information. For it may signal that you're here to break a pattern, not continue it. Many people carry names tied to family pain, prejudice, or silence. If your name is part of that legacy, you have the sacred right to transform it, not through denial, but through conscious evolution. You can reclaim it, reframe it, even rename it. In Buddhism, when a monk or nun enters the spiritual path, they're often given a Dharma name, a new middle identity to reflect their awakening. It's not to erase their past, but to bless the path ahead. Maybe you're at that crossroads too. If your middle name no longer fits, ask yourself, what name would? What energy do you now choose to carry between who you were and who you are becoming? You're not bound by your name, you're in conversation with it. Across spiritual traditions, names are never just names, they are prayers, promises, prophecies, and often the most powerful names are not the first ones spoken, but the ones given in the middle of a journey. In Buddhism, a person receives a Dharma name when they commit to the path. It's a middle identity, meant to mark transformation, not just spiritually but karmically. It reflects the qualities they are meant to embody, often chosen with deep meditation and symbolic intent. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about revealing who you've always been. In Christianity, middle names have long held a spiritual function, especially when chosen as the name of a saint. Parents often gave children the name of a spiritual guide or protector, quietly, asking for their presence in the child's life. Even if the child never became religious, that name sat like a hidden candle, quietly burning in the soul's corner. Then there are indigenous traditions, where naming is deeply woven into life stages, dreams, visions, or sacred encounters. With nature, in many native cultures, a child might receive one name at birth, another during a rite of passage, and yet another later in life. Each reflects a deeper truth of their being. In these systems, naming is not static, it's alive. So, why have we come to treat middle names like bureaucratic filler? We've forgotten that names evolve, and that the space between names is often where the true name waits to be heard. Your middle name might not have been given in a sacred ritual, but you can make it sacred by how you relate to it. You can sit with it in meditation, speak it with reverence, ask it, "What are you here to teach me?" And then listen. The truth is, your middle name may not belong just to your personal story. It may belong to your soul lineage, the thread of light you've carried through lifetimes, a frequency you've been learning to embody across many forms. There's a phrase in some African traditions, "You carry your name on your bones." It means that names aren't surface things. They settle deep into the structure of who we are. Maybe your middle name is part of that structure. Bridge across lives, a soul whisper you're only now beginning to hear. If you come from a tradition with sacred naming, share its wisdom in the comments. Someone else may need that perspective more than you know. Imagine your name not as a word, but as a symbol. Not as something fixed, but as something alive and constantly unfolding like a mandala. In Buddhist art, a mandala is a sacred diagram. Often intricate, always symmetrical, it represents the universe in a state of spiritual order. But here's what's most powerful. After the mandala is painstakingly created, often from colored sand, it is ritualistically destroyed. Because the point isn't to preserve it, the point is to be present with it. knowing that beauty is meant to flow, not freeze. What if your name works the same way? Your first name may capture your outer world. Your last name may anchor your family history. But your middle name might be the mandala, the pattern that changes as you change, the part of you that reminds you, this journey is sacred and it is temporary. You're not here to carry your name like a badge, you're here to live it, breathe it, evolve it. That's why some days your name may feel like home. Other days it may feel like a riddle. That's okay. In spiritual growth, confusion often means you're getting closer to the truth. Your middle name isn't just a sound, it's a cycle. One you're still unfolding, one that reflects where you are on your soul's spiral. Not in a straight line, but in expanding circles of awareness. Ask yourself, how do I want to embody this name going forward? Does it remind you to be softer, braver, more awake? Does it invite you to become the healer, the truth teller, the artist, the peace bringer? You don't need to use your middle name in conversation, but you can use it in your heart as a sacred touchstone, a reminder that you are more than a single identity. You are a layered being walking through time, collecting pieces of truth. And one of those pieces might have been hidden in your name all along. If this reflection has helped you see your middle name differently, write, "I see it now," in the comments. And let that be your quiet declaration of awakening. Because you don't just wear your name, you become it. Practical takeaways. How to unlock the power of your middle name now that we've explored the deeper meaning of your middle name. Let's ground that insight into simple spiritual practices you can begin right now. These aren't just exercises, they're invitations, ways to form a conscious relationship with the name that's been quietly journeying with you all along. Say your full name out loud, slowly and with presence. Do this in a quiet room. Speak your full name, first, middle, and last, with deliberate breath between each. Listen to how it feels. Notice where your body tightens or relaxes. This is a form of name meditation, a way to begin integrating all parts of yourself into the present moment. Research the etymology and history. Look up the origin of your middle name, not just in English, but in other languages and cultures. What do those roots suggest? What traits, emotions, or archetypes are associated with it? Let your research be intuitive. Go where your curiosity leads. Create a name journal page. Write your middle name at the top of a blank journal page. Beneath it, jot down all the feelings it evokes, any memories it brings up, words or images you associate with it. Do this once a week for a month. Over time, patterns will emerge, emotional threads you didn't know were there. Use it as a mantra. Repeat your middle name softly in a quiet moment, during meditation, while walking, or just before sleep. Let it become a vibration, not just a word. If it carries a quality you wish to grow into, strength, peace, joy, allow it to become your personal mantra. Ask an elder the story behind it. If possible, speak to someone who knows the family story, a parent, aunt, or grandparent. Ask why that name was chosen. Was it random? Was it honoring someone? You might learn a story you were never told, and that story may carry deep emotional or karmic weight. Give it a new meaning, if needed. If your middle name feels heavy, outdated, or painful, create a new definition. Assign it a quality or intention that speaks to your current path. Say it out loud. From now on, this name means courage, compassion, freedom. Let it evolve with you. Use it in a ritual or affirmation. Write an affirmation that includes your middle name. For example, I, Maria Lane, claim my path with clarity and grace. Speak it during moments of doubt or transition. This activates the symbolic power of your full name. Meditate on the middle energy. Reflect not just on the name, but on what it means to live from the middle. Are you balancing extremes, healing between generations, standing between identities? Your middle name might be a guide for walking your own middle way. These are small but profound steps. They can help shift your relationship with your name from passive to powerful, from forgotten to foundational. Your middle name is more than a syllable, it's a symbol, and when you learn to work with it, you begin to reclaim a deeper part of who you are. So now you know, and your middle name is not a coincidence, it's not a placeholder, not a throwaway. It's a whisper from your soul, tucked between the lines of your identity, waiting for you to turn your head and listen. Whether you love it, reject it, or are only now beginning to understand it. Your middle name has walked with you through every chapter of your life, often silent, often hidden, but never meaningless. You've learned that names carry energy, emotional, spiritual, ancestral. That your middle name may hold a karmic thread, a healing clue, or a vision of who you were meant to become. That it can be a mantra, a memory, or a mandala, and most of all, that it's alive. Not just in sound, but in what it stirs. You don't need to change your name, you just need to see it, to claim it, to walk forward with the quiet knowing that something deep, something real, something sacred has always been riding in the middle, waiting for your attention. So I leave you with a question. What might change if you started treating your middle name like a message instead of a mistake? Let that question echo in you. And if you're ready to explore more spiritual tools like this, to go deeper into the mysteries hidden in everyday life, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss what comes next. Your name is not a single story, it's a layered truth, and this was just the beginning.